Hello. It's good to be back in Selmer. I had another pizza. Different kind, but another pizza. I saw a barbecue place, but it really looks more like a gas station, so I wasn't really sure what I should do about that. So if you can advise me next time, I'll. So here's sort of the history of this. Obviously, I appeared before you all in September, made a presentation. There was discussion. There was a decision, as I understood it, to go forward with the red light camera portion of it and not go forward with the speed camera. That was my understanding on that date. Subsequently, there were some discussions with one of my peers, Hope Ball, where it was indicated that there was an interest from some in the city to maintain the speed as well as the red light for the final 2 years. The reality is that regardless of what you all decide to do today, in 2 years your speed cameras will end because there is not another option, and we cannot enter into new contracts on speed cameras unless they're in school zones and on S-curves in the state of Tennessee. And so to help you all make whatever decisions you're going to make, I thought it might be helpful just to kind of review sort of the data. On both speed and red light, there were 15,489 violations issued in 2021, okay? Of that, red light accounted for 8,397 of those violations, and speed accounted for 7,092. So there is a difference of about 1,300 types of violations that you have in this city, okay? So red light, 1,300 higher than speed. Here was a stat that I found interesting. People in your community, by just a smidge, are oddly enough more willing to pay speed tickets than they are red light camera tickets. Red light camera tickets in 2021, 49.7% of them were paid. And on speed camera, 51.5 were paid. So it's not a massive difference, but here's what I think happens. Speed violations tend to be the most egregious. Not the most egregious in terms of type of violation, but, and I think the chief hopefully may agree, but when you have speed and T-bone accidents, that's when people get hurt, and that's when jaws of life have to come out. Red light cameras, people for the most part tend to check up, do something, but it's not at the same rate of speed that they go through that intersection than they do on a speed. And that's not 100%, please. I see a lot of videos where bad stuff happens on red light camera violations. But there is no doubt that a speeder who is already going over the posted limit and does encounter a vehicle, that is going to be a far more impactful accident. So that's really all I had. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know you all have to make decisions. We will do the will of your board. And I do appreciate the opportunity to come back and hopefully clarify some stuff.
I thought we had agreed to both of them last time they were here.
No, actually, that was, we talked about, first his presentation was that there was not gonna be a contract of the speed coming back. Remember, we talked about that. And then when we got involved with, talking to the other person instead of you, then it became to the surface where we would be able to do both and extend the contract.
Mayor, that is the way I recall the conversation, was that my counsel at that time, and I no longer have counsel on this one, okay, so please hear. My counsel at that time, based on the tenor of photo enforcement in Tennessee, was that since we were so close to the contract date ending and a decision to continue speed, that the optics might not be great. That was my sole, as I recall it, comment about speed, was more about optics rather than technology, any other piece of the puzzle that affects it. And so my understanding was that there seemed to be some level of agreement, I don't know about agreement, but that, okay, we'll move forward with the red light, and then, and we will drop the speed.
And that's what we talked about in the work session. And then the meeting, it became something different. That's how.
Yeah, we agreed on
Okay,
that. We wasn't gonna do
misunderstood.
one thing, we wasn't gonna have both.
Right. then
And that's
when
what
we
you
came-
said also.
That's what I recall.
That's right.
But that all being said, you all can make your own decisions and make whatever recommendations you have, and then we'll comply with whatever the outcome is.
Cause I recall it was gonna be like, what, 180, 190, it was gonna be cut in half.
Yeah, your revenue is going to drop just about in half.
And that, if we go forward with that, it will only go for 2 more years.
That's correct. So you could make the decision to go 2 more years, figure out a way to backfill the lost potential revenue going forward after that, and you would be out of the speed camera business going forward.
Somebody have any questions?
I guess so. When exactly did that contract end?
The contract ended on 9/30, and then we received an email from the mayor indicating that while this was being discussed, that we wanted to go month to month so that we maintained a photo enforcement program in Selmer.
Actually, that contract went from September the 27th, 2020, and ended on September the 27th, 2022. At that time is when the contract ended. That was signed, that's the last contract that was signed. We are under no contract whatsoever at this moment, according to this piece of paper. Are you familiar with Tennessee Code Anointed 55-8-198?
I am not.
That is a.
But a black cat just went by that door, so that can't be a good sign.
That is a Tennessee law passed and signed by Bill Haslam that, once these contracts run out, that camera can't be put back in that location. And as of September the 27th, 2022, that contract ended. No contract on that camera, so if you put a camera out there or vote on a contract to put a camera out there, you're violating Tennessee law at the number I called right there, the 55-8-29. With respect to speed cameras out of July 1st, 2015, which the law was passed at that time, unmanned traffic enforcement cameras used to monitor speed and issue speeding citations are prohibited except in a designated distance of a marked school zone and an S-curve of public highway. No camera would be immediately removed under the bill. It gives cities until July the 1st, 16 to adopt new contracts allowing unmanned speed cameras used anywhere in their city limits. Once those agreements expire, the devices could no longer be used. We are expired now as of the 27th. I recall the meeting just like you did. You proposed at the meeting on the 12th.
Right.
This contract was presented by you to the Board of Aldermen and Mayor on September the 12th during the work session. And at that meeting, it was proposed by you to leave the speeding portion off the contract. And I believe your words were to the effect, speed is the most controversial part, and the window to renew contract was to end in just a little over a year. So at that point, the alderman voiced, and they didn't voice no opinion whatsoever, saying, wait a minute, stop, don't, we need speed on there. Nothing was said. Sometime the next day on September the 13th, Alderman John Fennelson took it upon himself to contact your client service manager. That would be a Mrs. Hope Ball, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And had her change that original proposal that you presented the night before to include speeding as an infraction. Can you answer why Ms. Bell was able to change this from the original proposal without consent of the mayor or the full board?
What I can say there is that Ms. Ball has been told to stand down from this situation, and that the mayor received a call from my immediate supervisor apologizing for what took place there.
Okay. The contract was voted on, of course, on September the 13th by the board. Of course, they passed it with one board member not here on that night, and one voting no on it. That contract was never signed by Mayor Emmons, to my knowledge. The original contract ended, as I said, on 27th of September 2022. After that time, no contract was in effect. In other words,
So I'm not going to get into Tennessee law,
Okay,
but I will
okay.
say this: in my 10-year experience in photo enforcement with clients all around the country, we have many clients that, as we're hashing out final terms to whatever the jurisdiction wants to do, that we request an email saying we want to go month to month, so that we can continue services while we negotiate out that final piece. So I don't know if that's permissible under Tennessee law. Your city attorney would have to answer that, but we have it happen regularly.
well, of course, corporate lawyers and city attorneys can negotiate any kind of law they want, but they can't turn back the clock to the 27th of September, which the contract ended. That state law was signed the 21st, on the July the 1st of 2015 by Bill Haslam, that specifically says, under no contract, when it runs out, no camera can be put back up there, period. You can search the law if you want to, but that's what it's going to get into. What's going to happen is, if you install those cameras out there under a new contract where the other one is run out, you're violated state law right off the bat. Those are going to be deemed illegal, and therefore legal challenge to anyone that's ticketed through that red light to get all of their fines back and attorney costs and everything, because simply it's an illegal deal. If you wanted that in there, you should have had that signed before the 27th of September. And you could have had it signed on by the 27th of September, except for one reason. The night you gave that proposal, you proposed red light camera. Everybody went with that. No objections whatsoever. That would have been signed by the mayor, put into law. We'd had the red light cameras out there. We wouldn't be going through this discussion at all right now, except for one reason. Mr. Fennelson called Hope Ball and screwed the whole thing up. Now then, you're out of contract. And I suggest that you get with your corporate lawyers and find out, because what few people that I still have in Nashville that will talk to me, and I do have some up there, have told me exactly what I've just told you today.
Yeah, so we in no
I
way.
talked to an attorney also, and he has told me exactly the same thing.
Jeff, I sent that in to the city attorney the other day about if we were in compliance, so I'll get a.
But really, in essence, what should have been done, we should have voted on what was told to us that night,
Right. I understand.
instead of changing it around and putting us in this mess that we're in now. Because I'm telling you, if those cameras go up out there, there is going to be a civil lawsuit against that, because the contract's up, done, finished. There is no contract.
Well,
But
thank
did you not say
Governor
the will?
Haslam says, and when he signed this into law, once that contract is up, no more.
Was the will of the board on the 13th of September, you said?
The will of the board was on the 13th, Janet, and the meeting with this individual from Recollection was on the 12th.
So the will of the board was on the 13th, there was plenty of time to sign it, right?
There would have been time to sign it if it hadn't changed from what he said to what somebody else said. At that point, the mayor, I guess, wasn't willing to sign something that wasn't presented to her on the 12th. So therefore, the contract is out, and without the mayor's signature on the contract, it is null and void anyway. I'll be presenting this again. You gonna be here tomorrow night at the meeting? No, sir.
No.
I just want to read it in the record.
Get that right, yeah.
Tomorrow night, too. So, thanks, Ben.
See y'all.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to that. So I guess we got to talk about that. So Red Flex camera rep David Mass just came, he talked about what had happened, so we all know what happened. So what are your thoughts on it? I want to hear what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts on it?
You'll hear mine when I can get all my material and look at it.
Well, what
And if I need to
material,
voice it tomorrow night, I will.
well, what material are you looking for, John? I mean, the same.
I'm trying to,
That's the material that you got right there is what he said. I mean, he came in
I
to
mean,
talk
it's
to y'all again
apparently,
at your
that-
wishes.
it's apparent that, I mean, giving up revenue, you're good at.
No.
You don't wanna do that
Nobody
because we're
even-
gonna lose all that.
Nobody even said that. That's why John Austin wanted it to come back again. Did you not say, are you gonna have the red flex cameras come back?
Well, because you didn't sign it the last time.
That's
I said we're gonna talk about it again, because you didn't
Yes.
sign it after we approved it the first time. But he's back and we're gonna vote on it again,
That's exactly what I asked. And that's what I brought.
but I don't know. It's more of a, why did you
It's
sign it?
fine with me, if we just
We'll
have
talk
to
about it
do
tomorrow.
red light.
Well, the thing is, the only reason why I didn't sign it the first time is because like
Because
you
you were mad
said.
at Finlayson and you said that too.
No, it changed from one.
I didn't ask you, Jeff.
I'm telling you anyway.
Yeah, I don't
I'm telling you
care.
anyway.
This is not an open forum.
Okay.
This is our meeting. We can allow you to talk. You can sit here and listen to
Okay.
us.
Well, listen.
You understand?
That
No,
is
I
not
don't
what
understand. John explained it a little bit better to me.
No, okay, that's okay, okay, go. All right, so no, listen, that is not what I did. I wasn't mad at Finlayson. I was saying, you don't go
You wanna read
behind
the
my
minutes
back.
back? Here's what I asked when you said, yeah, that's why you didn't sign it.
Well, I don't care anymore. what
Okay.
you have to say. Y'all
We'll-
are always
we'll
gonna
get-
say anything against me, so.
I'm not talking bad about you. I'm just saying that's what I
I
wouldn't
said,
sign.
this was what we talked about going behind my back. We did talk about it one way, and Willie wasn't even here to even vote on what the new way was. That's all I'm asking you guys. I mean, you wanna work together, so here's what, I'm bringing it to the table.
Okay, we'll vote on it tomorrow night. Which way we're gonna vote on it?
That's what I'm asking you guys, okay?
What did the city attorney say on the,
He never got back with me, not got
what did
the email.
impasse say?
Impasse, I didn't go to impasse about it. I asked, city attorney for his advice and see if we was in compliance with all the regulations before we could vote on anything. So I did send that email out to the city attorney.
Is he gonna be here tomorrow night?
The city attorney, I would hope so. He wasn't there last time, but I'm sure. Like they'll be here tomorrow night.
Okay.
I would hope that we could get this worked
We
out.
need to get it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a show tomorrow night, because I think some people said that they're gonna come to the circus
So yeah, so
tomorrow
that's why I'm
night.
saying, let's
And I
discuss it
said,
now before
what
we
do you
discuss
mean a
it then.
circus? They said, well, y'all ain't nothing but a circus.
That's right. So
And I
John,
won't come, and I
what
said, that
material
don't
did you
make no
need?
sense.
That's what I'm asking, what material did you need? Because
I'll
he
just have
just
to go
came
back
back
and
to
read over
talk.
my stuff, Sherry. I said I'll go get my stuff and read over it. Is anything relevant? I'll talk about it tomorrow night.
Well,
It's
why
not
don't we
one
talk
that's
about it
going
right
to
here in
go.
the work session so I can have it done and we can smoothly go on with voting?
All you had to do is pick up and call and ask them would they extend that since there was a new change in the communication hadn't got at a
Well,
timely
why
manner.
didn't you just email the mayor and ask the mayor to pick up and call? I didn't even know
Because
that.
there's too many times I've heard people try to contact you and you don't call them back.
That is not true,
That
John
is
Finlayson.
true.
That is
Why would
a
they lie
lie.
to me? Why would they lie to me
Well,
about
why would
that?
I lie to you?
All right, we don't need to fight about this. We're
No,
gonna
I
we're gonna vote on
I'm-
it tomorrow night.
I'm
Be
trying to
fine. We can go
understand.
ahead and let Chris talk.
There's the circus.
We gonna be right here tomorrow night doing the same thing.
Oh,
And we'll
amen.
have
I mean,
more-
I'm just.
We'll have more people here.
I just don't know, I mean, what we can't talk about tonight about the red flags, okay? So y'all want the red flags where it has all of your little bells and whistles, your cameras and your, speed and your red light. Is that what you want?
If it's what
Well,
you
if you would look at the contract in 2 years, the speed is gone, period.
Yes, that's
It's
what you
just
just
a red
got
light,
to say.
so we could not lose that revenue for 2 years. And then it will be gone for good then.
That's exactly what it said.
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, will you have your
As long
information
as-
on, John?
And then I'll
We'll
call
look
and see
like
about
that.
us being, make sure we're compliant. So I'll
John
call
will have,
John
he'll
again.
try to have his information and let it clear up more, and then we can vote on it tomorrow night.
I appreciate you, Johnny Norris, for not arguing.
All right, Chris Grisham is up next, Utility Director. Do you want to talk?
Yeah, the resolution didn't get through with the lawyers, so this is something we're probably gonna do next month.
Oh, okay,
we're still
so-
tied up with the resolution. I thought we'd get it done today, but it didn't, so,
So next month.
Or whenever,
No
or
problem.
hopefully.
whenever TA gets their.
Well, see, the deadline they told me in concrete, it's flexible. The deadline they gave me was basically something for them, for their schedule, not really ours, so we've got time, but I thought it, from what they said, it's something that had to be done
Right.
before December the 10th, which was gonna be before the next board meeting, but
No, I
we
understand.
should be able to get that locked down, no
But
problem.
it's now next, all right, we'll do that next time then. Okay, the next thing will be the appointing of Kirby Latham to join the IDB board, all room approval, so I'll have that on there. Other thing is Chief Hawley wants to talk about, y'all going forward with the glass building next door, remodeling to the police department.
Well, what I want is ideas. I guess right now I just want permission to get out and talk to maybe a contractor and just let them come in and say, this is around about how much it's going to cost. Get with Angie and see with the money we're going to use, if we have to have an engineer.
Yeah, I need to find out, since these are ARPA funds, I need to find out, for sure if there are restrictions on, how you use that money, if you're doing a big project, if it has to have, an engineer and all the bells and whistles that go along with that, or if it is something that we don't have to do that with. I don't know.
And I
until-
emailed MTS to ask all that questions today. So I'll put you in that email.
So I'm just trying to, I guess, start the ball rolling a little bit, because I know we're not wanting to bid nothing yet, because I know we'll have to bid it at some point in time. But at least to come back to you and say, hey, we got a rough estimate,
Just a ballpark figure.
and hopefully come back in the next month or two and say, this is a rough estimate, and see what we can do, and see what our alternatives may be, or what we can do and can't do, and get y'all's ideas on it, see what y'all think about it,
And
what
the
we should
critical
do.
thing with this is the fact that with these funds, they have to be, any plans that you have to be set in stone and bids taken and done. Every plan done, every dollar earmarked before December of 2024. And they have to be completely spent by September of 2026. So, and you act like that's a long time away, but it's really not. And so we really need, it's a situation where we need to start making some plans.
That's fine.
And I appreciate you, Kim, following up on that, because I asked about that several meetings.
And I don't know that you'd have to vote on it, I'm just, I guess, just asking permission for me to just go out and talk to one or two and say, what do you think?
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's a good plan.
All right. Application. Street sanitation, all we was gonna talk about was, Ray is still trying to get some people to come to work. Ray, do you wanna explain that or?
I'm just, people short, but it's starting to slow down and we're accomplishing what we need to accomplish. Leaf season is starting, so we're sending that truck out each and every day. And we're just taking work orders as they come. I'm still a guy short, and I talked to the mayor about creating a position, only for the simple fact that, when all the guys are sent out, there's nobody monitoring the shop at all, other than the mechanic that's in there and the two people in the office. So people are coming and going and dumping what they want to dump and putting it where they want to put it, and, I have to, where brush is being burned, it's solely for brush only. And people are dumping, lumber up there, people are dumping, I've spent countless amount of monies trying to repair tires on loaders. So I want to try to create a position where, that place is being monitored. In the incinerator, we're burning things with nails and screws and things like that to prevent loader flats. But people just back up there and dump toilets in there. toilets don't burn, you know? But anyway, you know, so that, we talked about that and she agreed. We had a situation last summer where somebody had dumped a battery in the garbage can, and the guy dumped it in the truck, and, you know, he's dumping other cans as well, and the back of the truck started smoking. Sulfuric acid reacted with the material that was in there, and we had to dump 8.5 tons of garbage out on the ground. So it's really something that should be done, just to, you know, let people know where to put what and what to, you know, and then we don't have to continually monitor it and go move it after it's been dumped and things like that. So, you know, I'm down a guy. I had a couple of guys come in. You know, both of them were questionable on hiring, and both of them got calls from other jobs that were paying more, so they just didn't come. You know, I'm still fighting that, but like I said, you know, it's just a situation where I find somebody. Nobody's no offense, but I'm not getting any people, you know, seeing the ads in the paper necessarily. I did put a sign out in front of my building there that seems to be attracting more. But by legality issues, I have to run it in the paper. But it seems to me more people in the area are filling out applications or being told by word of mouth. But, you know, we're just trying to do the best we can. When we can hire somebody, we will. That position will be filled, and then, you know, we're kind of waiting for approval on this other person. That person would just be, you know, during the summer mowing. It'd be kind of like a shop person, or, you know, just mowing the lawns, keeping the place neat. When somebody comes in, escort them to what they need to do and where they need to put it. Because we're paying, we've had an issue last week or 2 weeks ago. You know, somebody dumped a whole roof in our 2 layers of shingles in our dumpsters. Now, I don't know about you, but it's not garbage, and, you know, that's a contractor doing the work, but nobody's there to monitor it. So, you know, I thought for $10 an hour or something like that, it certainly would pay for itself, because you know, there's no telling how to separate the cost of that shingle job, you know, and what we pay for garbage. So, and it's supposed to be for garbage, you know, from the city residents.
What do you think?
So, I mean, that's my update.
Can I ask, the raise that we give y'all that you deserve, did that help morale and help any?
You know, everybody was grateful for it, don't get me wrong, but, you know, it's just a situation where, you know, everybody's paying more than we are. They're not considering, you know, the benefits that the city gives. But, you know, I don't know who else gives what, but, you know, to answer, everybody was very grateful for the raise. There's no question about that.
So we looking for one more person? Or how short are you?
Well, 1 to 2, but I planned on sending 2 guys to school over the winter to get their licenses, and that drops me down now to 4 that I'll be without while they're going to school. So maybe I'll have to make it 1, maybe I'll have to work it that way, but, you know, I'm reacting to situations that are confronting me more than trying to physically seek out answers before it happens.
I think we could get somebody to post together a nice, like, flyer to circulate on social media with his job postings.
Probably, yeah.
You know, maybe have like
Yeah,
a
we've
street
put it out
citation
on-
graphic on it or something in the.
You know, we've put it out on Facebook, and,
Right.
you know, we get comments like, you know, that's an awful lot. You know, obviously, you gotta pass a drug test, you gotta, you know, get your CDL within a 6-month period of time, although that's not very enforced. But, you know, we get comments like, that's an awful lot of requirements for $10 an hour. That's when we were advertising for 10.
Right.
1150 hasn't seemed to make too much difference. I got one person just the other day, one came in today to fill out an application. Whether he comes back or not, I have no idea.
And I think if we put it out there, it might not even be a bad idea to turn the comments off on the post to keep the negativity out of it. Because I mean, I'm sure that there's somebody out there
Yeah, well,
that would appreciate the job and not appreciate the folks around being negative about the job that they're.
well, there's no question about, I don't know anything about Facebook.
Right.
My clerk does all of that. I didn't even know you can turn posts off, so.
Raymond, would you share what all y'all do? I know you do leaves and all that, I mean, all the different things for other departments that y'all help.
Anything that needs to be done, we do. It's as simple as that. When the water department or the gas department make a cut in the road, they'll come back and fill it with gravel. We'll come and either hot mix it or cold mix it, depending on the time we do. If something needs to be done in a park, we do it in a park. If ditches need to be dug, we do that. I send somebody out to pick up a dead dog that was swelling up on the side of the road that smelled bad, and she said it was there for a week. Well, they didn't call during the week, they called on the weekend. So my department does whatever needs to be done, no matter who it's for, so.
At one time, you had 30-something people.
That's what I was told. That's,
How many you got now?
that's what the old timers do it. On any given, I got 4 on garbage every single day, and on any given day, depending who calls out sick or who's not feeling well or whatever the case may be, I'll have anywhere from 5 guys to 7 guys on the street side of the crew. But when you do hot mix, that takes all the guys. When you do roadsides, it's 2 on bush hogs, 2 on litter, 2 on weed whacking. That takes all the guys. There's no room for anything else. When you do leaves, that's 3 guys, 1 guy running a hose, 2 guys raking, 1 guy driving. That's 4 guys. Not a lot of room for anything else.
So you're running short, and you can't get nobody to work, and you're doing a good job.
Well, I hope I'm doing a good job. I work with what I have, and what gets done is what gets done. Sanitation is priority number 1. We gotta pick that up every single day, and I fill in with what I have left. That's all that's about.
So I just wanted to bring it out of good faith about the position that he asked about, so what do you guys?
I think it's a great idea,
He does when he comes back, when the crew's all gone except Daniel in the shop, and I went up there and it looks like, they've got to, and then I got to get the manpower out there to move it or, move it around, so that's just like double duty, so.
And, on that front of having people coming up there and dumping, maybe we could bring one of the dumpsters up closer to the building, and that's the only one that's available. Of course, if it gets full throughout the day, we could swap that, just to kind of control the access to the back portion of the lot.
Well, I plan on controlling it if somebody is back there. We have a dumpster in the back of the building, and, no offense, but, I don't know how old the building is, and it's not in that great shape to begin with, but, to put a dumpster out front would just, attract more.
Well, I wasn't necessarily talking about
Yeah.
right out front, I'm just talking about closer to the,
Well, there's nobody watching it anyway. I
Right.
mean, you know, I do have security cameras, and I did figure out, you know, who was dumping the shingles and, you know, things like that. But that's pretty much the only area for the dumpsters, unless I start parking trucks out back. And the fire chief parked a truck out back, and, you know, people going through rocks at the windshields all busted up. And you know, you really gotta control, because you can't control who goes through there.
Right.
You know, it's all open, so, I mean, I have a little gate in front, but when nobody's there, they walk right around it, and that's what happened, you know, with that situation with the fire that somebody started and burned the park's, you know, irrigation system. You know, there was, you know, I can't say who it was or what it was. I have my suspicions, but, you know, one day the garbage truck driver was dumping cans and saw a little fire on top of, we have a salt bin there with concrete, you know, saw a little fire there. And then, you know, 2 days later, the big fire starts, and, you know, I've never burned anything up there. It wasn't any of, you know, my guys that lit the fire. It was just somebody walking through.
Right. And most people up there, if you've been up there, is out of sight, out of mind.
Sure,
They throw it and go.
yeah.
They ain't caring.
And they don't even care if they get it in the dumpsters, which causes, you know, you know, I don't even spend a lot of time on this.
Okay, anything else on that? Okay, so we're putting on the agenda tomorrow, the reflex cameras, and we're going to talk about, what are we gonna put on the reflex cameras? I'm still asking. Are we gonna do the both, or?
Do both if it's legal.
If it's legal, okay. No, it's okay. And Chris Grisham's not on there, appointment of Kirby Latham, seems short and sweet. Anything else? Make sure I got it on the right. Okay, no more discussion?
Good to me.